Kia ora koutou katoa, no mai hara mai ki UFC on Sky, ko Ravinda Hunia aho. UFC 292 goes down this weekend and Sean O'Malley will be making his bid for the bantamweight title when he faces Aljamain Sterling this weekend, and the Sugar Show joins me now. Kia ora and hello, Sean O'Malley.
Hello.
Nice of you to join us again. It's good to see you again. How have you been?
Oh, not too bad. Just, doing the media rounds, enjoying fight week, enjoying the beautiful weather here in Boston.
Nice, that's amazing. Look, I wanted to talk to you about your preparations first off the bat, because obviously this is a title fight. It's a 5-rounder fight for you. So I want to know how it's been and perhaps how you've adapted to this kind of demand in a fight camp.
Yeah, the only thing different this fight is it's 5-5. The title fight, 2 extra round, 10 extra minutes. So we definitely incorporated that into sparring, into strength and conditioning, into pretty much the entire fight camp. So, yeah, I mean, that's what's different. Other than that, it's pretty. I mean, fight camps are all pretty similar. I got a good routine, a good structure, and I kind of just stick to that plan.
Nice. And like all roads, for any fighter in the UFC, especially in the top 10, are wanting to lead towards that title fight. And here is your moment. Have you taken time to digest that this is really happening for you now?
Yeah, it feels normal. It feels like it's supposed to happen. It feels like this is just how the movie's supposed to play out. So I'm not really walking around like in shock that this is actually here, that's happening. I've been preparing for this, so it feels normal.
And you talk about that preparation and what preparation you had in that last fight against Peter Yan, getting the win against him. What did you take out of that fight, and what did that teach you about fighting the top echelon of this bantamweight division?
Yeah, I mean, that was the first time I fought a guy in the top 10, top 5. I guess Pedro might have been up there. But, yeah, it was the first time I fought one of the top dogs. And, I knew it was going to be a war. I knew it was going to be a dog fight. So I wasn't really surprised it went like that. I knew it was going to be hard. Did I believe I could knock him out? Yes. Did I almost? I almost landed the shot necessary. I rocked him. I dropped him. Who else has dropped Peter Yan? No one. So, yeah, I know how these fights are going to go as far as, mentally having to dig deep and really pushing past those limits. So this is just another one of those fights.
Yeah, that's something that I actually wanted to talk to you about next, actually, was that you exude this confidence about yourself. You have this belief system that, not too many fighters have and all champions require. So have you always had that confidence about you, and is that something, mentally that you work on?
Yeah, I don't know if you're born with it or if you can, if someone's not born with it, you can teach them it. But I think I was born with it. I was, I feel like I've always kind of had that will to win. I'm a competitor. I'm a winner. And, and when it's time to perform, I'm going to do everything I can to win. And I think it's just I was born with it, or I learned it from an early age. I don't know, but I definitely have it.
Absolutely, because when we think about a UFC fighter and what's required, yes, you do need the skill set, you do need the mixed martial arts, but there's so much more that comes with it, right? There's the media, there's the popularity, there's the glitz, there's the glam, there's all sorts of things that encompass it. How have you found all facets of being within the UFC, especially in the top 5?
Everything feels just like normal life at this point. I feel like I had a slow, gradual build to fame, to stardom, and now it just feels like normal life. But the number one thing is stay on track, stay in the gym, stay improving, and that's it.
Yeah. You've spoken a little bit in an interview about mental warfare and that preparation before this fight in particular. So although you and Aljamain are going to fight this weekend, when did this fight really start for you?
Aljo, I mean, he's been champ for a while, so I knew at some point, he keeps winning. I'm going to eventually get to that. So I knew I was going to fight him for a while. I think we've tripped each other a few times in the past. Yeah, to be honest, it's business. It's business. If he takes it personal, it's his own fault, his own issues. But for me, it's business. I want to knock every single buddy out that I fight, and he's no different.
And what do you make of Aljamain Sterling as an opponent and an opponent that you've had to prepare for this camp?
Yeah, he's the champ. He's the best guy in the division. He's the toughest fight, not only for me, but I think of pretty much everybody in the division. He's the toughest fight. So it's an honor to go in there and be able to fight someone in their prime, who's considered the best bantamweight of all time. Not a lot of people get that opportunity, and I get to go out there and not only fight him but beat him. Go out there and knock out Aljamain Sterling, the greatest bantamweight of all time. That has a nice ring to it for me.
Yeah, it does. It's a funny thing you bring up about prime, because when you look at the UFC champions, men and women, they all age range between 30 and 36 right now. You're, of course, still in your 20s. So what are your thoughts about, champions being in their prime in their 30s when you haven't quite hit that yet?
Yeah, I don't think I've hit my prime for sure. I do think 30, 31, 32, 33, like around that age is where you get your prime. I'm improving a lot still. So, yeah, I think that makes sense. So for me to go out there and beat him in his prime, and I'm not even in my prime yet, that's huge. That's massive.
Absolutely. Well, when you look at the likes of Jose Aldo was 24 when he became champion. John Jones, became the youngest UFC champion at 23. So it really does come down to timing, right?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, this is my time. This is the Suga time, and it all comes down to timing. And his time, not that it's gone, not it's past. He can go up to 45 and do his thing up there, but I'm taking over this division.
And what would being bantamweight champion mean to you, Sean?
Lots more money.
Simple as that.
That's it.
Well, you've done pretty well. When you think about the reign that you've had in the UFC as well, you've done pretty well. 11 fights, 10 wins. The record is pretty impressive as well. Do you take those sorts of things into consideration as well? You're on a 5-fight winning streak as well.
I don't really think about that necessarily. It's just on to the next fight. After every single fight, it's on to the next fight, on to the next fight, on to the next fight. So being undefeated, it's nice, but it's just, on to the next fight, and I'll go to the next fight.
Yeah, you speak like a true businessman, you really do. Look, I wanted to just get your thoughts. Marlon Vera and Pedro, two of your past opponents, are also featuring on this card, coming up against each other. How do you think that fight's going to go? And do you sort of feel like the UFC might be teeing up one of them to take you on next, should you be successful in this bantamweight title fight? Yeah,
if Cheeto wins, the rematch is huge. I mean, me versus Cheeto for the belt in December. I like the sounds of that. The Pedro rematch, it's like, if I punch him in the eye again, is he going to quit? It's like, that one doesn't really get me excited. I could care less about that fight. That fight probably won't happen, win or lose, if he wins or loses. To Cheeto versus Pedro, I feel like could be similar to like Rose versus Carla, like one of the most boring fights ever. Hopefully not, but I'm just like, that fight might be boring. So, but yeah, I'm rooting for Cheeto in that fight. I would love to knock him out again. Nice. Look, before I let you go, you seem so calm, so collected right now, so happy, chilling in your hoodie. How are you feeling right now, and what kind of show do you want to put on this weekend? Yeah, I'm feeling good. I'm trying to just stay up late. The fight's going to be at 12:30 here. So it's going to be, Sunday basically by the time I fight. So yeah, I'm chilling, calm. I still have to go bust out a little workout later tonight, whatever time it is. And, so yeah, I'm chilling. That's about it. Nice one. Look, well, we'll all be watching here in New Zealand. We wish you nothing but the best, so go well. Mom, thank you so much. 6 fighters coming out of Auckland's City Kickboxing Gym will be competing in Sydney at UFC 293, including UFC middleweight champion Israel Adesanya, who will be competing in his 11th consecutive title fight. I had the pleasure of catching up with the champ and his coach Eugene Beerman to get the lowdown on his newly named opponent. First of all, Izzy, congratulations. The announcement of your fight against Sean Strickland's finally come out. Can you talk to us about that process and what really was the weight behind him finally signing to this fight?
It wasn't about him, really. He should thank me for actually making the fight happen, because without me, he wouldn't have actually got the fight. I pushed for him to get the fight because he was the next logical guy. I've beat all the top 5, some of them twice. So you can't punish us for being great. So yeah, I pushed for him to get the fight. He's an idiot. Well, I can't say too much about that. He's an idiot, so he just has to behave himself and actually show up and just fight.
Yeah, tight turnaround, but for you, you've been in training camp for a little while now, so how has preparations been going?
Good. We've been on. We've been very on. Everyone's on. Six of us fighting, about 3.5 weeks out now or so. But yeah, it's been on.
Question for both of you. This one, quite a historic moment, especially for New Zealand and Australian MMA, with so many fighters on, such a major event. How do you absorb that when you're going through preparations, knowing that this is, such a big moment for New Zealand MMA?
Yeah. I mean, that's definitely on the back of our minds, but we've been here before. So we know the gravity of the situation, and this is sort of the pressure that we like, because this is the sort of pressure that we've gotten used to over the years, and the more pressure you put on us, the better the team performs. So bring it on, make us half the card. It don't matter. That's when we perform best. So kind of embracing it, kind of enjoying it.
And finally from me, historic, because as you say, half the card is you guys. How do you work out this workload? Because I know that the week will be huge with so many of you on it, in terms of cornering and getting your fighters prepared the best way possible.
Yeah, look, the thing is that me and him are in front of the camera, but we're like a very kind of tip of the iceberg, if you like. So, I mean, we don't exist if we don't have a massive team underneath us that are far smarter and much better at doing this than us. So they're the guys that help us. They're the guys that really get the engine moving. So we just have a well-oiled team of excellent people and excellent coaches and other fighters. So we just share the load, and we'll get it done.
I guess just following on from the first question that I asked about the Strickland fight coming together, like how much convincing did the UFC take to, I guess, put that one?
A lot. Like I said, he's an idiot, and the UFC don't want him embarrassing the company. But yeah, that's all I'll say about that. So you should thank me. You should really thank me for actually making him get the fight. I pushed for it. He knows what happened behind the scenes, and I pushed for it, and I'm glad the UFC trusted me to listen to me.
And Eugene, I guess just on that, what was the in-house discussion before even approaching UFC to get Sean Strickland when Dricus said he was injured?
We concentrated on the date, and we talked about that very early on. We're like, look, we got, at this stage, there's no opponent locked in, but it don't matter. Just put a name on a bit of paper and put it in front of us, and we'll be there on the date. So we, right from the very start, we put all our concentration and effort into the date, a little bit less focused on the opponent. Then they put the opponent in front of us. We sign a dotted line and we show up. That's what we've done for our entire UFC career, not just with Izzy, but all the fighters. No one from this team's ever chosen or refused to fight, like a lot of other teams and a lot of other young fighters do in the UFC. And that's why we're looked upon favourably by the matchmakers and by the powers that be, because there's no mucking around. We believe that by the time you get here, you're at a certain level, and it's the level that you need to be to take on anyone in the world. So just put the name in front of us, and then we'll show up. So we concentrated on the date. And so the name was a little bit irrelevant to us, but Izzy did some work behind the scenes to make sure that he got Strickland, and to make sure that our region got a relevant main event, which was a Kiwi or an Australian champion, and there's only two. One's Volk, who's unfortunately a bit injured, and so it just left him. And so we did our part to make it happen, and we're very grateful that our region, that our home, our neighbourhood has got a relevant main event.
Did you hear much of the concern from I guess, fans going and buying tickets knowing that there wasn't a booked main event?
A little bit. Even myself, I've spent over 6 figures on tickets myself for people that go to this gym with my friends and family. So I already invested into it, feeling that I was gonna fight, and I was hearing rumbles of the fans being like, are you gonna fight? I'm only coming if you're fighting, da-da-da-da. But I just assured them that, don't worry, I'll make this happen early on. And then we did the work behind the scenes, and we made it happen.
This one has a couple of Coach of the Year contenders, and Eugene and Eric Nixick. Eugene, is that a coaching battle that you've been looking forward to him?
You fought him before?
Yeah, I'm sure we've
so.
crossed paths before, but
Yeah.
to be honest, I only found that out yesterday. I don't keep much eye on that Coach of the Year things. It's just a thing that happens in the background. Yeah, look, he has a very good team. He has Eric's a very good coach. He's in charge of a lot of fighters, a lot of high-level fighters. Very smart, and he works with a very close friend of ours, Ray Seffel. I don't know how much input Ray has with Sean, but he has input with Eric, and they work together, and they're a very smart team. And there'll be 2 very good coaching teams going up against one another. So that's another battle that's going on behind the battle. But we'll make sure, and Izzy will make sure that he gets his job done in the cage.
And how much of a missed opportunity is this for Dricus for not stepping up to take the fight?
Massive. Sometimes you only get one shot. If you don't take it, look, we all, like you saw my last fight 2 weeks out, right there on that spot, boom. My leg up badly. And he knows I could have pulled out that fight if I wanted to, but that was never a thought in my mind. Yeah, built different. At this gym, it's only if, what is it, if you're having a baby or...
You're only allowed to miss training or a fight. You can't even pull out from a fight unless you're having a baby, and for most of us...
Or getting married.
Or getting married, so those are your only excuses. I've had guys here have been on their death's door and they haven't pulled out from a fight.
Yeah.
That's just what has to happen in the industry. You just... Like, you don't take this for granted. We worked so hard for the champions that we have, Volko, Israel, Kai's had a title shot. You know, like, we do everything in our power to get there, and when you get it, we don't take it for granted. And it don't matter what injury we have, you just move on and move forward, simply because you just can't let go of an opportunity like that. And we know the nature of the sport. And we know the nature of the UFC. And all it takes is a couple of good wins and he's bumped out of his position. So he can't sit comfortable. And he shouldn't be surprised if he has to do another fight before he gets a title shot because he let it go. So we'll see what happens. Obviously, we're keen to fight him, but we don't know what's going to happen with the landscape and with the environment. Hopefully, he's still in a position where he can fight us next.
And given the magnitude of the card in Sydney, is this the biggest card in city kickboxing history? Was it out there?
That's a very difficult question to answer because we've been part of so many massive events. It's just as big as the others, but it's for different reasons. We have 6 on the card, which has never been done. We had 4 on the card, which we felt was a massive event for us. We've had 4 on the card twice. We didn't think that would ever get to 5 or 6, but it's gone to 6 on the card. And for that reason, it's a massive event. And I mean, I don't even know if that's ever even been done by another team, having 6 people from one team on the card. So if there's any like UFC nerds and stuff, can you say that word, nerds?
Yeah.
I know, yeah.
Ooh, cancel them.
Yeah. There's any UFC nerds that know all these facts and figures, if they can let us know if there's ever been 6 or more on one team on a card, that would be cool to know.
Finally, Izzy, you haven't fought on this side of the world for a very long time. It's been a long time between drinks. I know Aussie fans are excited, but New Zealand fans have been waiting for you to somewhat come home.
Yeah.
What's that feeling like for you?
That's one of the main reasons I put forward to the UFC, letting them know, like, you can't. Last time I fought on this side of the world was UFC 243 when I defended my belt against Rob the first time. And yeah, I just felt like we can't have an irrelevant main event on this side of the world, especially any of my arch nemesis. So stupid. So I'm glad they trusted me enough and respected me enough as the champion that I've been, showing up constantly, and gave me what I've earned, which is a fight close to home. And that way, people from this side can hop over the pond and watch me do work, watch us do work.
Also featuring on the card is New Zealand flyweight Kai Kara-France, who, after a shock decision loss in his last outing, is seeking redemption, but with a little bit of new motivation on the way. First of all, Kai, thank you so much for joining us. We've just witnessed a pretty good training session here today. How you been going?
Yeah, been going good. For this camp, the term I've been kind of reminded by every day is thrive in the chaos. It's not just because of the training, it's because I've got a baby due any day now, so quite busy at the moment, but I love this. I love when the pressure's on and that's when we're at our best. So camp's been awesome, so many guys getting ready for big fights. The Sydney card's coming up and we've been in the gym just working, so great energy, great atmosphere, and I'm ready to go now.
Let's talk a little bit about home life, because there is a trick to finding the balance to all of that. You've already got a young bubba and a wife at home, obviously, with, as you say, a bubba on the way. So how do you find that balance, or does it just naturally come to you?
Definitely learning as we go along. For the first one, crazy times when the world was shut down and we're in lockdowns and MIQ was a thing. So when I fought, my son was 2 weeks old, and then I was away for about 6 weeks. So that was definitely tough. But we've gone through it, and now things are back to normal. So we know that it's not going to be as hard as that. So just plan, be organised. That's the main thing. And I've got such a great support system around me. We've got babysitters or family 5 minutes away. So I'm grateful to have that kind of system around me, and supportive wife that kind of knows what's entailed when you take a fight. And after my last one, I couldn't just sit around and just sit on that loss. I knew that I had to get back in there, and what a perfect time to be on a card close to home, Sydney. A lot of friends and family are going to be at this fight, and man, I'm visualising it every night when I go to bed. Is what's that walkout going to be like? What's it going to be like in that atmosphere in the stadium, and then what's it going to be like when I knock this guy out and get a highlight reel knockout in front of my friends and family?
Well, when you think about the first time a card even went to Sydney was a decade ago. So it has been, a long time. And as you say, COVID this and travelling away and now you all finally have the luxury of training at home, just jumping over the pond and jumping in the octagon.
Yeah, we definitely, are used to travelling for fights, and now it's only a 3-hour flight, and we can settle into fight week and just get set up and really just soak in that hometown support from Australia and New Zealand. Over in America, we're kind of seen as one. We're not really fighting each other. So when we go over there, we're going to just be just nice and comfortable and have all the comforts that we usually have. And then there's 6 of us on this card. And one thing from this week especially, we've had Izzy's movie come out, and we had a premiere for that, and just constantly reminded how grateful and privileged we are to do this for a living. And when we step into this gym, we're constantly reminded that we're so lucky to be able to do this. And the best way to kind of show that is just give 100% all in, and every day just trying to be better, and don't leave anything in the tank. You just got to be here, be 100%, and take it all in. So when it's fight week, I can't wait to just be there and be present and soak up all those moments and know that this isn't forever. And when you go out there and put on a great performance, people are going to remember that for the rest of their lives. So that's what I'm after, putting on memorable performances and making my family and my team proud.
Absolutely. Just going to put it out there. You do every time you do step in the octagon, so know that. But let's talk about your last outing in the octagon and that decision. There were a lot of debate about, who should have won that fight and how that should have gone. But how important was it for you to let that go to bed and get on to the next task at hand?
Yeah, it was a frustrating one when I walked away from that fight not as a loser. I felt like I did enough, but it's not my job to be angry. A lot of people are frustrated and angry for me, so I just focus on the positives. I'm winning in life. I've got a family to go back to, and this is what I do for a living. So all I can do is focus on the next. A lot of positives that I take away are going 5 rounds, going 25 minutes. That's a lot of experience. Being a headline act, dealing with all those things that come with that. More media obligations, more attention. And yeah, it is a tough one when I lost my ranking and now I'm number 5, and financially losing money, but I think I won in the way that more people are talking about it than if I was to win. So for me, we just steamroll into the next. I hadn't taken too much time off, so fitness was always going to be there. And then for this fight, it's only 3 rounds, so a bit easier in the camp. Not saying it's easier in the volume, just you not have to reserve yourself for those championship rounds, 4th and 5th rounds. So for this fight, I said to the UFC, give me whoever. I want to fight in Sydney, whoever they give me. It's not really about that. It's just about me versus myself and bringing my best version. So that's what I'm focusing on. And come September 10th, it's not going to the judges. I'm not letting them take this away from me. And the best way I can do that is put the pressure on this guy, make him feel me, make him feel their presence, and go for the kill.
And obviously every time we talk, the title is always on the kōrero as well, going back, re-establishing yourself and shooting back to the top. Yeah,
well, this flyweight division is so close. Anyone could beat anyone, and with Pantoja beating Moreno and now being 3-0 against Moreno, it kind of gives me inspiration that, fighting these guys that are world class, even though they've got wins against me, it doesn't mean that I can't beat them. And I've shared the cage with Moreno twice. I've shared the cage with Pantoja and the Ultimate Fighter. So I fought these championship these champs, former champs and and current world champions. So for me, it's not really about if it's going to happen, it's when. And I'm only 1 or 2 fights away from fighting again for the world title, so I'm not in a rush. I'm just going to let my work do the talking, go out there Sydney September 10th and show everyone why I deserve to be one of the next contenders in this flyweight division. So I'm excited because there's so many great fights to be made, and I don't know who Pantoja's fighting next. Might be Ravel, might be Moreno rematch, who knows, but all I can do is focus on this next fight and put myself in the best position possible.
Absolutely, and just putting on those electric performances, right, so they can't forget you.
Yeah, I don't. I'm just here to be exciting, here to go for these finishes. And last time I fought on this side of the world was UFC Auckland 2020. So it's been a long time. Been a long time for friends to come and see me fight in the live, and that's all I'm gonna be fueled by, is knowing that my loved ones are here and I'm ready to put on a show, and I'm not here to lose.
And you, Bubba.
New Bubba. I don't know if they'll be at the fight, but all my family will be over with me, so that's when I'm at my best, when I've got the support and I know my purpose, I know what I'm doing this for, and this gym that we have here, it's a special place, and man, so privileged to be able to represent this gym on this world stage.
UFC 292, whānau, get booking now. Head on over to Sky Arena or Sky Sport now to book the pay-per-view. The action starts this Sunday afternoon from 2 p.m. You can catch all the preliminary action live and free on Prime from midday. Also a special mention, Zhang Weili will be putting her strawweight title bout up for grabs up against Amanda Lemos in the co-main event, so you don't want to miss it. Hei ko ngā mai.